What's up, guys? It's almost Christmas, which means it's time for a Christmas confessional. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm not actually Christian. I just like the vibes. But here's my confession. I used to work in something called executive compensation consulting, which is kind of what it sounds like, right? I got the job fresh out of college. I didn't really know what it was. I was just excited to move to LA, and I moved there and I started the job. And I quickly realized that the way it works is a board will hire a compensation consultant to advise them on like how much should we be paying our executives. But then those executives will be like, my board says I should be paid this much, but I think I should be paid this much. So I'm going to hire my own compensation consultant. And because they were signing our checks, we'd be like, yeah, you should be paid that much. And there's like a bunch of analyses that you do to kind of like figure out what's the right pay. But they would be like, okay, one example, we would figure out a peer group. So like I worked with a bunch of financial services companies. So we would say, okay, your peer group is companies that have 0.5 to 2x assets under management as you. But then they'd be like, well, we're projected to grow 4x. So really, you should compare us to the companies that are like 4x assets under management. And we'd be like, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do that. And then the guy who's making 4x, he's like, wait a second. This guy who's making a quarter, why is he making so much? Like, why is he making almost as much as me? I should be paid way more. And it was this like escalating arms race of executive pay, and none of the analyses actually mattered. And it took me like all of a few months to realize, like, whoa, am I single handedly deepening the wealth divide? Like, no, I'm not, but like, yeah, am I? Maybe. And then I like talked to a senior partner at the company I was working at, and he was like all about like, yeah, I'm used to campaign for this Democrat and I worked on this and I'm super progressive. And I was like all of 22 years old, but my bold ass was like, how do you reconcile your progressive ideologies with what you do for a living? And I thought he would have like a really good explanation that would make me feel good about what I was doing. But instead, he was kind of like, he got like uncomfortable and he was like, well, I hope one day I can be maybe an agent of change in this industry. And I looked at him, I was like, but you've been working in this industry for like 15 years. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, cool, one day. And then I stopped doing that because, ooh. So, in case you were wondering how executives decide how much they should pay themselves, that's how.